Yeah, and these are just a couple of examples. So I had a very cool job in Tokyo. It was actually, to date, probably one of the best jobs I've done. And a performer just decided she didn't want to go. Yeah, exactly, my confusion. I was like, what? Mostly because the flight was booked late and it was an indirect flight. So the flight had already been ticketed. So I had to pay £800 to buy a new ticket for a new performer, out of my own time, do another rehearsal with them. And then a week later, she did the same thing to me on a Norway job. And I was just very confused, but I have like a zero tolerance for that. So if you're going to cancel me in a abroad job, you basically just fired yourself. That's just me. India, I had a girl get so drunk and record herself and upload it onto her Facebook and say, working for Evolve Entertainment.
Oh my God.
And refused to delete it. And told me to chill out. She fell into the breakfast buffet and it went everywhere and put it on Facebook and tagged me.
That was in the video?
Yes, she dropped the phone into her food in the video. But obviously I don't employ her anymore, but you know, she was doing all the best jobs for me. Norway, I had a performer, less worse, that's terrible English, not as bad, but she was more interested in eating the buffet than rigging her aerial hoop. And my client had asked her like 4 times, can you rig your aerial hoop? And she just said, Gemma, can you do it? So I was like, yeah, okay. So I did it, and then my client's a very good friend of mine, we've done work for like 7 years, and he said, just never invite her back. I don't want her on any more of my jobs. If she can't be bothered to rig her own equipment, I don't want her on my jobs. So that wasn't even me, that was my client who noticed that. And Sardinia, I had a singer very recently refuse to stay 20 minutes extra. So events overrun. If you're someone who is like, my set's finished this minute, and it's like mid-song, and you, like, it just don't do it. Just like, what are you going to do? Like, you're just going to go and sit in your hotel room. So unfortunately, this is the thing with events, like they do overrun. And I understand if a client or an agent asks you to stay 5 hours, that's ridiculous, but 20 minutes, it put me in a really awkward position. She wasn't going to do her second singing set, and it was very, very hard, and I had to like spend a long time groveling to her, which I shouldn't have to do. No. So I won't be using her again. But yeah, so I'm going to play you a quick video, and I've never done this before because I'm worried. Yeah, Josh.
Technical requirements, go.
It's like a behind the scenes, it's a case study of an event that I've just done in Sardinia with 43 people. And it was an extremely busy event, and it was in a logistical nightmare of a venue. It's like a derelict castle with like no like speakers and powers and stuff like that. So I got a film crew to follow me around knowing I was doing this talk, and I thought it might be quite good for you to see a little bit of an insight into like my job and what I do on an event.
Over the years, I have learned a lot about events, especially events on this scale. For this particular event, it was a private party located in Sardinia. We flew 43 members of staff, videographers, photographers, performers, everyone you can imagine over to the island to make sure we created the perfect event. For me, with event planning, the key is preparation, and no matter how prepared you think you are, things will always crop up on the day. I try and stagger performers' arrival times, make sure their changing room's ready, drinks, snacks, everything you can think of. The first thing I do at an event, especially one like this, is set up all the equipment. We had everything from hand balance tables, freestanding aerial, drums, band equipment, everything. We'd actually driven our van over from England with all of our costumes and props inside. I then normally move on to the lighting and the music score, making sure I introduce myself if it's a local team. However, on this occasion we did fly over our own DJ, make sure he has note of the number of shows and the order. I'd say my event management skills are very hands-on. I like to make sure every performer and show has my full attention throughout the day, and in tech runs everything is 100% clear whilst keeping it fun making sure everyone's enjoying themselves, making sure performers know where their entrances and exits are, and they know exactly where to start, and so will the DJ, so they'll be able to play the track at the right time. I make sure I watch every tech run in full, so I'm 100% happy with everything. Every performer does their tech rehearsal in their shoes or any elaborate costumes, so they know that they can 100% perform and there aren't any problems. Most of the day you'll just see me telling people what to do whilst holding my clipboard. We create a concept and a vision with the client, and my job is to make sure that throughout the day during rehearsals that concept and creation comes to life. So for me, if performers are well looked after and they're happy, it normally shows in their performance. A very important element to the client was the finale of the show. We made sure that every single performer had their moment to shine, grabbing up all of the audience members, making sure they were all having fun and dancing, and then exiting in a line up through this cave. This event was split into 3 separate sections. The guests arrive into the garden. We called it Fantasy Garden, where we had amazing performers placed everywhere you look. Then they went up to the terrace to dine during sunset with some amazing dinner shows and musicians. And then finally they went into the cave. We called it the Cave of Wonders, where we had a 30-minute bespoke show. After we finished teching the Cave of Wonders, we moved outside onto the terrace. We couldn't spend too long on the terrace because it was over 30 degrees in heat that day, so I wanted to make sure that we ran the shows just once. First of all, we started off with our tango couple, professionals from Strictly Come Dancing, Jasmine and Aaron. After Jasmine and Aaron, we then moved on to our tap routine, where we had 3 performers performing Putting on the Ritz as a beautiful tap number. And finally, we moved on to Beth, our contortionist and hand balance artist. We wanted to create different levels of performance throughout dinner, so we had the contortion and hand balance show positioned halfway up the stone staircase to make sure that we took advantage of those amazing views. A very important element for us here at Evolve Entertainment is hair and makeup. We flew over a team of 3 makeup artists and 1 hair artist to bring all of the looks together. We had multiple running orders, as you can expect that many performers who also had more than 1 look throughout the day. It took a lot of planning to make sure there was always someone in hair and makeup. So after all the planning and preparation, rehearsals and tech runs, here it is. Here is the final finished edit from the event in Sardinia. Please enjoy.
so for me personally, this was a really big job for me because it was direct through me. The client gave me huge scope. I basically did any costume, anything I wanted, and they were really lovely to work with. So even though I've technically done jobs with more performers and I've done jobs with like celebrities, I think sometimes, sorry, it sounded really big-headed, sorry, I didn't mean that. I just mean that like sometimes when you do abroad jobs and it's a private party, they just don't really appreciate you. And I think me as a performer anyway, that's why I always aspired. I wanted to travel, I wanted to see the world. And that's what I wanted to aim to get those jobs, because not only are they better paid, you know, you're being paid to go to those countries, so you can always ask the agent if you can stay on for a couple of days or travel. So yeah, that was like always my main aim as a performer. Is there any other quick questions at the end?
Do you have certain performers that you prefer for abroad bookings, or is it just your top people that you have available that you put on?
It depends what your skill is. So for me, I wouldn't prioritise a friend. I'd put on whoever's best for my company. But if they're annoying to be around, no matter how talented they are, they're going to drive me insane. I honestly won't put them on the job. So yeah, it's like a mixture of the both. Like people I prefer, but also that have the skill.
If I'm investing into costume and I've like got access to seamstresses and all that sort of thing, what do I invest in as a dude? That's not waistcoats and trousers and the likes.
It is a hard one. Like I just think have a little look around, but it's difficult, isn't it, Josh? Like it's quite limited. You know, that's why I have thousands of costumes for girls, and my costumes for guys are, yeah, probably half the rail. But for example, I have, does anyone know Jason? Contact juggler, very eccentric, love him, love Jason, it makes me laugh. I have him on loads of abroad jobs, some abroad jobs where they've only wanted girls and they still choose Jason because I decided as an agent his promotional material is terrible, but his talent is brilliant. So I decided that on one particular job I had a costume made for him, and it was a suit, but I made it like under the sea theme, so it had like an octopus coming out of his hat and like shells and like, but really still a suit, but like it was purple, yeah, and it looked cool. So it was like a themed suit, and then I've now made like 10 themed suits that fit lots of magicians, and now they get a lot more work because I've just done that for them. Yeah.
So like agents go through agents and stuff, like say
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. If I get hired by you to do a gig and I tag your agency in it, will the agency that's hired you be miffed that I've tagged you?
Depends on contracts, so just ask.
Right. Okay.
So sometimes, you know, if you're working for two agents and they're agents that don't mind promoting each other, they'd be like, I'll just tag both.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're, you know, you get people who are like, you only tag me and that's it. So, you know, I don't mind abiding by the rules. It was basically, you should just see it as a business and just tag who you should tag to get the work again. And especially on abroad jobs, I'm sorry, but I had a model on this Sardinia job who didn't tag me in like 4 pictures in a costume. Then I asked her to tag me, she tagged me, and then she untagged me. So I won't employ her again. There's like 50, 100 million models. So it just for me, it just seems rude. It just seems like you don't want to be associated with me, so don't accept the job.